Today we're gonna start with taking the rollback bed off of this, and right now he is draining the hydraulic lines to get the oil out. Those are on there pretty tight, huh?
Yeah. Well, and it's black iron pipe. Look, it's like gas line pipe they ran.
Oh wow.
For a lot of it.
That's weird. And who knows the last time it's been loose, huh?
It doesn't really drain very well. Look at that.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while because this is about half full. If it's going to take that long, that tiny little line. This must have been one very, very slow rollback, because look how small the supply line was, just a half-inch black iron. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, because it'll fill that. It'll fill both these probably more than once. So we'll just keep an eye on it, see how long it takes.
Okay.
You can see where they spliced the frame right here when they stretched it. And look inside, you see the insert they put in? They put an insert and it goes here and here, but it doesn't hit the flange. But you can see here there's a second piece they welded in. You can't see how horrible those welds are down through there. It's obviously a pretty thin piece of metal. Look at the rust jack in here and here. And then down here, they put a whole nother liner inside. Look how far away from the frame it is. Not doing a whole lot of good. And then this is where the other seam is. And then they welded strapping. You can see here. They welded strapping, and they went over top or underneath, however you want to look at it, on that leaf spring hanger back to here. These old Fords always went to a narrow frame in the rear. You remember that L7000 or L700 it was? I had with that rollback on it. We ended up bending the frame back here because you see how small that frame is.
Oh yeah, it's not as tall.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as strong. Anyways, we'll get this thing off of here.
Okay, so we got all the hydraulic lines off, and he used the torch to cut the bolts off right here, and on the other side, and then this piece he cut with the
the hinges
torches.
are part of that great big plate that goes all the way from the front to back. So I'm just going to cut the hinges off the back because I'll just remake the truck side when I go to put this on something, just like I did last time. I'm okay with that.
So what's left?
I have to cut that loose, and then we should be able to lift the. So I get the hinges off. I got the lights loose. All the hydraulic lines are loose. I've taken most of them off because they're just horrible. Go over there and show them how horrible these lines are.
Okay, and we're still draining.
Yeah, I mean I could take the suction line off of that and make it drain faster, but we're like swapping out drain pans so we can put it in the waste oil container. So we're trying to make
Here, you take this and I'll
least amount of waste or mess as we can. Yeah, so this is what kind of hoses we're dealing with. This is what was on it. And this one just broke in two. This one's ready to. This is my all-time favorite. The hose apparently blew. They put piece of copper line or something between the two, and then ran a couple hose clamps, which you really can't see, and then ran tie wire between them to hold it together. That's it's pretty interesting. Yeah, but we're going to take all the hoses out of that valve because we're not going to use it. Also interesting is this is the hinge pin right here. It's like, 16 inches, 14 inches too long on this side, and on that side it's just barely coming through. But this plate is what I was talking about. This plate right here is that one I showed you that runs along the frame inside of here. So I'm just gonna cut it right here because I've got it welded to the truck frame anyways. And I'm not gonna I might use this part, but I'm certainly not gonna use that. It was all kind of torch cut. You can see the piece of steel right there. That's what's part of the hinge. It's so hard to see in here, but that's what it is. So I'm just gonna cut it off with the torch real quick. Alright, I've cut off both the hinges on that side. everything is loose. Now what I need to do is I need to pick it up in such a way where when I do pick it up, it's going to pull the slide assembly back. I'd like it to be even in the front, and I think the way I got it now, it should do that. When I pick it up, then I'm going to have to prop something underneath it to be safe, and then get the lift assembly ratchet strapped up, because otherwise they're just going to want to kind of flop around, because I have most of the hydraulic lines disconnected, so there's no valving to actually hold anything. Alright, so we got it off. It was I would say less than fantastic. It just wanted to keep getting caught right here, the pivot assembly. I had it chained up, but it just didn't seem to matter, and then it grabbed the hold. Somehow it got a hold of the brake line, which doesn't really matter to me because, you know, it was pretty rusty anyways, but regardless, it is off. We got most of our tools picked up, so next we're going to, it's probably going to rain. I'm going to have to push this thing inside, and then we're going to see if we can fiddle around with this for a few minutes. We'll see what happens. Alright, let's see if we can get anything going with this. Let's see. Well, looks like it's over full on oil. There's a full mark, I believe. Or there's where it's at. The full mark, I believe, is down there, so yeah, it's slightly over full. Smells like gas. Not horrible, but some. Rag. Let's see if she's stuck. The belt's so loose, we can't really tell. Oh boy. Oh, better make sure she's out of gear.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
The engine won't turn if it's in gear.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant because it might. I was gonna say, I don't even think it's gonna start. That makes sense.
Oh, look at that. Look, she turns over. Very easily, like no compression.
Well, you never know, I guess.
I'm getting a little better. Alright. Let's see what we look like under here. It's like somebody just put brand new points and condenser in it. Let me see your glasses a minute. Oh yeah. Can't say they look like they're adjusted well. Cap looks good. Well, what do you think of that, Sally?
I think purple's your color.
Huh?
I think purple's your color.
Purple's my color. Why do you say that?
Because my purple glasses that you have on.
Yeah, you can have them back now. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the fuel line, because I don't want to suck any crap out of that tank. It's kind of flexible here, so we're going to take this line off right here. We'll run it into a gas can. So let me get set up, get a battery in it, because the battery's just kind of laying down here. Apparently the battery tray is one of those some assembly required. So let me get some stuff set up. Trying to get some of the gas to drain out of that fuel pump and the carburetor. I'm going as low as it can. I don't think we really have to worry too much about that gas catching fire, because it's really just like varnish.
It smells like varnish.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah. But I wanted to disconnect the fuel pump, so I don't want it sucking that crap up from out there. Can you see that? See how bad it is?
Hold it still. Put it down a little bit. Yeah.
About over here in the light.
Yep.
Almost looks like off-road diesel, except thinner. Okay. The battery won't take a charge, so we're using my jump pack, and we're going to see if we can get it to at least crank over a little bit. Okay. I'm going to leave the battery charger on it, let it charge my jump pack as we're doing this. Alright, so we don't have an ignition key, so we have to get power to the coil. The easiest way to find out which one's which is go to the distributor, find the wire coming out. The distributor, the points are nothing more than a big switch that there's 8 points, because it's a V8, there's 8 points on this little ring in the distributor. Every time that point, one of the points comes up and opens the points, the other side, I'm going to say other side, because you have two sides. You have a 12-volt side, then you have a high voltage side on the coil. Every time those points open, it causes the coil to spark. It sparks into the cap. Wherever the spark comes in the cap to the center of the rotor, whichever spot the rotor is pointing is where it sends a spark. That's how this old school distributor works. So what we're going to do is get us a jumper wire, and we'll go from here to battery positive, and we're going to get some good gasoline, and we'll put some in the carburetor and see what it will do. Alright, I've got my remote start set up from the positive of the battery to the starter solenoid, the starter side. And what I want to do is I want to check to see if the points are closing. Now the points control the ground side of the coil. So I took my test lead, test light, and I put the alligator clamp on the positive side of the battery. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put this on the negative side of the coil. Can you see that light? Being mindful that, you know, there's no fan shroud and this thing's going to be moving. Now I'm going to crank it, and I should see that test light go. It should blink if the points are working. Okay, so I did that with the positive off, because if you leave this positive hooked up with power to it, which I don't have any power to it right now, then what will happen is it can burn out the contacts in the points. So now I know that the points will actually open and close, and they're making and breaking contact. So what I'm going to do is take my jumper lead. This is on the positive now. I'm going to hook it to the coil. See that little spark? It tells me the coil's able to take amperage. And I have the spark plug set up here with a tester on the brake line. We're going to look and see if we got spark.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so we do have spark. So now while we're getting set up, I'll disconnect that. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little fuel down its throat. Seems like it's got compression, so we're going to put a little gas down its throat and see what happens. Put that great big block in front of that wheel, so if for whatever reason it starts to take off.
In front of the back wheel?
Yeah, I do have the chains hooked up to the gradle also, so it ain't going too far, and trust me, this thing ain't gonna pull my 22,000 pound gradle and ain't gonna break them chains. There ain't no weight on the back, it'll just sit there and spin. Alright, so that's what we're gonna do next. I got a little gas here. I'm gonna pour some down the carburetor now. Oh man, it's stuck. Stinks, the throttle's stuck. It's not the throttle. The throttle moves, it's the plate inside the car that's stuck. Oh boy. Well, we'll see what it'll do. Ready? Yeah, she needs some more juice. Well, it's making good spark, so we're going to go ahead and do away with our tester and put it back on there on the spark plug. Now, this spark plug tester is meant for the old style low output engines. Okay, it's got the electrode that's exposed. If you were testing a newer engine with higher amperage and higher voltages, the electrode is recessed down in there, so it has to spark around it. So it's important you're using the right one when you're testing. Let's give this little girl a little more fuel. The problem is that throttle plate's stuck in the carburetor. We don't want to put too much in there because it could backfire up through. We're going to have to get that throttle plate moving. Man, there's mud daubers down in here.
Of course there is.
Oh, it's been sitting for how long with the thing stuck? Alright, we're going to have to get a vacuum and try and get this crap out of here.
Alright, I'll get it.
Well, that's good. This might be one of them where I gotta let it sit, because that is stuck. Accelerator pump works. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There you go. Oh, looky there. Okay, now we'll try and fill the fuel bowl. Alright, let's give it a shot. Zip.
Wow. I'm surprised.
Wow, let's give her some more fuel. We might need to get a fuel tank set up now. Fuel pump might actually pump something. power back to the wheel. Oops. Wrong thing. I think I poured a little gas down his throat.
What do you
I'm
know?
ready to cut it off.
I'm surprised. As long as it's
Alright, let's get us a fuel system hooked up.
alright.
Give her a little drink. Hey, Doofus. Let's give her a little spark. See if she works any better. I don't think the fuel pump's pumping. Because we put it in a secondary can. Well, let's see if it's got oil breaker.
Okay, well, let me get down from here.
Yeah. It's not, apparently not pumping any fuel because we are, I'm sure we're in there. Yeah, I'm definitely down in the gas, but it's not doing anything, so we're not pumping. And I'm not really interested in putting a fuel pump on this old bird.
But, I mean, it's safe to say that it runs, right? For the most part. Which I'm surprised.
Too late.
Gotta be quicker than that.
I don't see if the clutch works.
She's rolling backwards. That freaked me out. Well, I'm getting off the spool in case it decides to go forward. Oh, I forgot. He has something in front
not too bad. Who would have thought? Look, it obviously had carburetor problems before. See how the exhaust is blown out? She probably backfired. So either had carburetor problems or timing issues.
It just freaked me out when it was going backwards because I was afraid it might go forward. But you have it secured, but I forgot about
look
that.
at her run.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be getting fuel.
Got some rattling on the top end, but it has the ability to run smooth. Look at it. It's not missing, it's not carrying on. I mean, it runs pretty smooth. It's not popping through. We don't have a ton of blow by. It's just right there on the verge of running and not running. You could probably, somebody could probably do a little work to that carburetor. I don't think the accelerator pump's working. I don't think that accelerator pump's doing anything. There's a little plunger underneath here, and as you go to accelerate, it pushes up on the diaphragm and squirts a little bit of gas in there to give it a boost while you're raising RPM. But it should go down. It'll go up, no trouble, but that's not what we need. We need it to go down. See it? Can you see this here? Watch when. See how I'm going down? Watch your hand. Don't get too close to the fan. Right in here should move, and all that's happening is the spring's compressing. It's not actually putting any fuel there. It needs to be pushing and giving it a squirt of fuel, because we're not getting anything. But hey, it runs. It runs and the clutch works. Maybe I should have done this first before I took the rollback off. Of course, it was spewing so much hydraulic fluid that I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't hear a rattle anymore either. Seems like it's got a little better. Yeah, see, look. As you accelerate, this should go this way. Plunge. We're gonna bring the idle up ever so slowly. Top end still got a rattle, huh? At least the fuel pump's working. We're running off of that. But that's been sitting for however long with the air cleaner off and all the crud down in it, you know? That ain't so bad. I really think I only hear one rocker on this side making noise. I don't hear nothing over there. We can't let it run too long. We don't have a radiator. Somebody stole it. Helped themselves to it, I guess. I wonder if that was originally the problem. The radiator went bad. Somebody took it out and just never put it back in.
Maybe.
See, it just barely starts to take off. No, just can't get enough fuel. I'll call that a success. Now the question is, do we pull the motor and transmission and save it? Or do we let it go with the rest of the truck? Because we're not keeping this truck. We just want the rollback bed. But it was a take the whole truck. You couldn't just buy the rollback bed.
I guess you could see if anyone wants the motor. I mean,
I don't even know what motor it is. I guess I'm gonna have to look online. If I find it, I'll insert it right, you know, here or here or there or somewhere if I find out what it's supposed to be. It's a 1975, and I'm just not familiar with what they used in medium duty trucks in that time. But hey, I'm just thrilled that the thing actually runs. We don't really have a key to it, so you know. Got enough fuel, I guess, for a little bit. It must have worked its way in there, but whatever. Not bad. So there you go. And there's a lot of people that watched that first video and thought this truck was in good shape, but it really isn't. I mean, upon further examination, I mean, you can see the cab's pretty rough. And as far as figuring out the engine, I think I've dug around enough and found the information that I needed, and it tells me that it is a 330. That was one of the very common motors that they put in these. The only thing that threw me off was the fact it's a 4-barrel. So I don't know if someone has changed the intake manifold at some point to put the 4-barrel on, or if maybe it had a 330 and now it's something different, because the 330, from what I found out, has a 3.5-inch stroke. Well, that's what this one has. I pulled out the number 5 spark plug. If you don't know, on Fords we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I pulled out number 5 and I measured the stroke. I took the piston when it was at top dead center, you know, right when it went to the top, and you could still move the crank a little bit, but all that was a rod rolling over the top of the crank, right? It wasn't, the piston top wasn't moving. And I took it all the way to the bottom, where it was doing the same thing coming around the bottom of the crank, right? And I got a 3.5-inch stroke. So that eliminates a 390, because those had a 3.78 stroke. Regardless, I think it's a 330, or at least it was a 330. And whether it still is a 330 or not, I don't know. And there's no identifying marks to tell me yes or no. But that's close enough. I'm all right with that. Now, our buddy Wes messaged me on Instagram and said that he had a way to decode this if I could get in a full tag out of the door jamb. So we already know the ratio of the rear end, because you could still read the rear tag. We know what the motor came from. We know kind of what transmission it is. We know the GVW, but he's going to be able to tell us exactly what transmission it is, what the front axle is, and a few other details that would be interesting to know. I was amazed at this rear axle. You could still read the tag that's on here after all these years. What is that, 583, 563, something like that. So, and a lot of people have asked, what are my plans for this truck? I don't have any plans for this truck. Like I said, the body is rougher than it appears. The frame is kind of aged out. It's not junk. It's not something that needs to be scrapped. But until I have a purpose, or have something, or someone come up who says, you know what, I can do something with that, then it's going to rest right here. This is where it's going to sit. And if we do something else with it, we'll visit it then. But until then, that's the end of this one. And now we're going to move on and go get the next one. So look for the next part. We'll be picking up the next truck of those 3 and bringing them in. If you guys have any questions about this truck or whatever, leave in the comments, and we'll have a nice little discussion about it. about as close as I can get. She just fits. I'm gonna throw another chain around it, and we're gonna get going. All right, we got it on the rollback. Let's take it over here and drop her off.
Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. If you like the kind of content that we put out, consider checking out our friend C.E. Smith's YouTube channel. He puts out a lot of stuff with Ford trucks. He owns several Ford trucks. One of them, he has a 7.3 IDI. Another one, he pulled out the original motor and put it at 12-valve Cummins. He's in the middle of building another F350. It originally was a 460 gas, two-wheel drive dually. He's converting it to four-wheel drive and putting a 5.9 Cummins down in it. His son has built a dent side F350 or F250, I don't recall, with a 4BT Cummins that he has built like you can't imagine. And it's a really great series, great build, and good videos on that as well. CE does tractor repairs, farming equipment, hydraulics. He is the hydraulic guru. When I have a hydraulic question, that's the man I go to. So if you like that kind of stuff, consider going to his channel, check it out, subscribe. Don't miss an episode or a video, because I'm telling you, every video I pick up something else and learn a little more. So if you guys like this and there's a channel you can think of that isn't getting the recognition it deserves, much like CE, leave it in the comments. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will catch you on the next one.